From the 90.7 WMCO Geyer studio, you're tuned in to the Muskie Sports Blast, where we take a deep dive into the Muskie Pond to learn more about the impact the Muskie athletes have on and off the playing field. Always surprising, always fun. This is the Muskie Sports Blast on 90.7 The Orbit.
Hello and welcome to the Muskie Sports Blast, live here on WMCO 90.7. Will Ford in the Geyer studio with Muskingum football, coming off of a win against Capital to close the year at 5-5. We have head coach Erik Ieuter and junior wide receiver Zuri Edmondson joining the show tonight. Coach Ieuter, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Will. How you doing?
Doing fantastic. And Zuri, how are you, my friend?
Doing great. Yeah.
Awesome. How's the semester going for you? I know we're kind of getting close to the end here. We got Thanksgiving break coming up and stuff, and then exams and stuff. But how are classes going for you?
Class is going pretty good. I think it's like normally just about like getting into the flow of things, just like the consistent, like getting up every day and all that stuff, like doing homework at night. So. I mean, it's going pretty good, though.
Yeah. What are you studying? What's your major?
I'm an art major.
Nice.
So,
I love that. Yeah. Cool. So what do you want to do with that once you graduate?
Well, I want to be a medical illustrator.
Okay. Awesome. Mm-hmm. Cool, man. Well, Coach, let's dive into, I guess, the game from over the weekend and kind of the close to the season. 5-5 for the first time since 2003, 18 years in the making. And when the clock hit triple zeros on Saturday, what was going through your mind?
I was just really happy for the team. The guys were so excited to finish the year out the right way, and you go into every game wanting to win, every single game. But
right.
When we took over the program 3 years ago, I mean, we needed to. It wasn't like, hey, we're going to win the OAC. We need to get to a certain benchmark here first, and so to get to 5-5 was pretty cool. And as I told the seniors, it was really special of the job that they did in turning the culture and flipping the culture was pretty awesome.
Yeah, and now next year 6-4 is the goal. So
we actually just had our end of the year team meeting and threw out some numbers. Muskingum football team hasn't won 6 games since 1995.
Right. So
that's another benchmark, but we certainly will have our sights even set higher than that. But next August is a long time away. So guys are of course we've had our end of the year meetings today and things like that, and guys are ready to go already. But we got a lot of work to do and. To take that next step, into the top tier of the league.
Yeah, and Zuri, what about for you? Your emotions, after the game, you and your teammates, just like when the clock hits zero, you realize you won, and you had the game in hand, but you win the game. You're 5-5. What were the emotions like after the game?
Yeah, I don't even know. I feel like it's indescribable. I mean. Like when that clock hit zero, I mean, we just like looked around. Everybody looked around and just realized like what we had did and like. All the hard work that paid off to make literally make history, and we did it together. So, I mean, it's just like so surreal to like really have like had it done.
Yeah. So how was that bus ride on the way home?
Oh yeah, we were having fun, yelling, screaming, listening to music, all that. So
I love it, man. That's cool. So, Coach, the beginning of the game, there was some adversity there in the beginning. On the first drive of the game, you started out with the football, and Travis Roberson had a fumble on that first drive, and then Capital goes down the field and they score, and then you punt on the next drive. And so, what was the message to your team kind of early on in that first quarter to kind of weather that early storm and then settle down and just get back to Muskingum football?
Yeah, it was just keep playing. It wasn't, that Capital was stopping us. It was we were stopping ourselves, and we knew that. So we just needed to get back to executing. And really what happened is the guy sitting next to me, made a couple big plays and really jump started us with that first touchdown. And when we needed a big play, and JG made a great throw and to tie it back up when it was like, yeah, we're moving it, but we just need that big play to kind of get us going a little bit.
Right, for sure. And Zuri, you had a massive day, and Coach kind of alluded to it. 17 catches, 266 yards, which are both school records in a game, by the way. I'm not sure if you knew that or not. But then you had 3 touchdowns, which ties a school record. What were you seeing out there that just allowed you to be so successful, time and time again throughout the day?
I mean, I wouldn't say like I was going into it like it was any other game. I mean, I was just focused, like just locked in. So, I mean, it just like the warm up went good. I mean, I've been practicing good all week. So, I mean, I just feel like I was like prepared to go into the game with like the right mindset and all that stuff. So, I feel like I was just, and plus me and JG were just clicking. So, it was just natural.
Just kind of one of those feed the hot hand type of days, and for sure. And coach, it seemed like that vertical passing game just seemed to be working all afternoon long. And just from a broadcaster's perspective, or maybe even a fan's perspective, one might say that like Capital kind of struggled to defend the vertical game a little bit. But was there something more specific than that you saw on the sideline that led you to call more of those vertical passing plays to try and attack, what Capital was doing defensively in coverage?
Yeah, I thought our wide receiver coach, Coach Nosta, did a really nice job. He's in the press box during the game, and kind of he's my eyes up there, so he was letting me know the different coverages and what they're playing back there. So I thought he did a great job, and we felt like going into the game that their secondary was their weakness, so that was something that we definitely wanted to attack. And it got to a point where like, okay, they're not making any plays on the ball, and we're making the plays on the ball, so we got to keep going at them. So we actually we called the same play probably 5 or 6 times.
Really?
Now we didn't hit the same guy every time, but the same concept. We called about 5 or 6 times, and then they try cover 3 and 2-man and cover 1, and they try everything, and JG just found a different guy each time. So it was pretty cool to watch.
Yeah, and so at the end of that game where you're up a couple of possessions and trying to just kind of salt the game away a little bit, and a lot of teams late in the game in the fourth quarter would maybe run the football a little bit more just to kind of take some time off the clock, and then maybe you put a long drive together and score a touchdown. But I mean, up until really the last drive of the game when you had it won, I mean, you were throwing pretty much on every single play. I mean, was that just because Capital had such a tough time, figuring out what JG was doing, and so you're just like, well, if they can't stop us, we might as well just keep throwing it until this game's over? Yeah,
it was still a 12-point game, and so we felt like we were in control of the game, but they're still within striking distance. So, we talked about it. Hey, should we run the ball here a little bit? But I mean, really, like they hadn't stopped us in the past game, so it's like, hey, let's stay with what got us here. Let's stay aggressive, and even on the 4th and 2, we called a timeout and talked about it on the sidelines, and we called one of our favorite plays, and Zuri made got a great release, and JG put on him, and it was great to finish with one more touchdown to kind of really ice the game.
Yeah, for sure. And Zuri, the wide receiver core just as a whole doesn't have a ton of size. Like you're listed on the website at 5'8", Jalen's 5'6", Travis 6 foot. So maybe not the biggest guys out there on the field, but what do you think makes your group so difficult to defend?
Well, first off, I would say like it's so crazy because even with our size, I still feel like we're the best receiving core in the nation. Like that's just the mindset that all of us have. So. I mean, when we see each other doing good, I mean, we just, like, feed into each other. So it's just, like, having that close relationship like the other receivers is really what, like, brings us all to greatness, in my opinion. Yeah,
for sure. And you guys got the speed and, great route runners, too, for sure. And Coach, you talked about Jordan Garrett a couple of times. And, I mean, he had an unbelievable performance himself. He threw it almost 60 times, but almost 500 yards passing, 7 touchdowns. He set a couple records for yards in a season, touchdowns in a season. I mean, what a way to go out, I guess, like in your final game as a Muskingum quarterback, wouldn't you say? I mean, that was just such a great game by him.
Yeah, it was unbelievable, really was. 7 touchdowns, and I mean, he was over. It wasn't like he was just chucking it around like and running the score up or anything like that. We needed him to continue to make plays because it's a little bit higher scoring game. And he was over 70% pass completion. So, that was it was just – and he knew where he was going with the ball. It was really impressive. There were a couple times, I'd be like, hey, yelling out, hey, middle field close, like so safety in the middle of the field. And you could kind of see like he already knew. He was kind of like, yeah, I got it, coach. So he really knew what they were playing, and then delivered the ball where it was supposed to be.
Yeah, and then one underrated part of the game. It just, at least from my perspective, you had Gannon Unger starting at running back, and he's a guy that you've been kind of moving around all year, but he primarily played the tight end position.
Yeah.
But he showed that obviously he can run between the tackles a little bit. But I thought his pass catching ability as a tight end out of the running back spot, where you throw him out there on those swing routes, underneath routes, I thought that he just really picked up some key first downs for you in different spots, and they didn't really know how to cover him. But what went into the game plan to put Gannon at running back, and then how did your play calling kind of adapt to having him in that position?
Yeah, no, he's a weapon, and he has been all year, and we were a little bit banged up at running back, so we said, hey, Gannon could really help us at running back, and so. Especially the last week, we really just had him focus at running back, because sometimes it can be difficult to play all the positions that he's been playing.
Right.
So we just had him focus at running back this last week, and he does have very good hands. So it was nice to get him ball out of the backfield.
Yeah, for sure. But we're going to take a break here on the Muskie Sports Blast. We're here with head coach Erik Ieuter and junior wide receiver Zuri Edmondson from Muskingum Football. We'll be right back after this on WMCO 90.7. The Muskie Sports Blast here on WMCO 90.7 with Muskingum Football. Will Ford in the Garrett studio with head coach Erik Ieuter and junior wide receiver Zuri Edmondson, finishing the year at 5-5, big win over Capital. And coach, this year the team finished top 5 in the OAC for the first time in 2009, and you beat everyone below you except Marietta early on in the year. But what's the feeling knowing that you're, one of the best top 5 teams in the conference, and the OAC, it's probably, you could argue, is the most competitive conference in Division III in the country. So what's the feeling knowing that you're up there with the best of them in the OAC? Yeah,
it's quite an accomplishment for the guys, to be in the top 5 of the best D3 conference in the country, no question about it. So super proud of them. Now the goal is, all right, what do we have to do to, like I said, get into that elite tier,
right?
And so that's the goal, and that's the focus of what we have to do within the development of our program, and retaining our guys, and then also going out on the road recruiting and bringing more guys in to compete and add into our depth.
Yeah. And Zuri, same question to you. So, given the recent history of Muskingum over the last 20 or 30 years, I mean, a lot of people probably didn't give Muskingum that fair of a shake and probably maybe projected a bottom 5 finish. But what was the feeling like, just kind of proving, the doubters wrong this year and finishing in the top 5 in the OAC?
Yeah, it's a great feeling, especially like with all the adversity that we had, like as a team, like last year, like losing coaches, losing players, even with COVID.
Right.
I mean, it's so crazy to think that, like, after that year, like, all that hard work really just paid off.
Right.
And, like, it's just kind of, like, hopeful for the future, because, like, now I'm like, well, what's next? Like, I'm ready to, like, get back at it again, like, ready to get back at next season and even go higher, like, just make more history. So. Yeah,
and speaking of the future, coach, and kind of getting right back to it, I mean, how long of a break do you actually take, after the season? Because I'm sure you want to kind of acknowledge the successful season you've had to a point, but do you take a week off? Is it a couple weeks off, or or does the grind just like truly never stop for you?
Are you talking for the coaches or the players?
So, I mean, more so you, like in the coaching staff.
Yeah, no. Coaches, we're right back at it. We had end of the year meetings with our players today, one-on-ones, and then we had an end of year or end of the season team meeting today.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to get a lift in tomorrow morning, 6 a.m.
Nice.
With the guys. So, and then our coaching staff, we're going out on the road recruiting starting tomorrow.
Nice.
So,
okay.
Yeah, so we're hitting the road all week, this week, and then 2 days before Thanksgiving. So we'll get a little break at Thanksgiving. And
sure.
And then it's full go recruiting while these guys are focusing on finishing up strong with their exams. But a little time at Christmas, and then it's full go recruiting.
Yeah.
Again.
So pretty much other than the holidays, it's full go all year round.
Yeah,
for sure. Mm-hmm. So that was going to be my question for you then, Zuri. Like, how long of a break do you take? But based on what Coach said, you got to lift tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. So but I guess over the holidays, or like what is kind of your recharge for you, after a season, long year? I'm sure there's a little bit of wear and tear on the body and stuff like that and on the mind, but like what does recharging look like for you?
I would say It's way more mentally than it is like physically, like recovering. Because I mean, I usually like when I'm on like in the off season, I'll watch like the previous season and just watch all the things I did wrong and like try to correct them, just like from a personal standpoint.
Yeah.
And then like just lifting with the team, make sure I'm eating right, not like filling my body with, you know, a bunch of junk food and all that stuff. So
right.
I think it's I definitely think it's more mental than it is physical, like recovering.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then, Coach, what does an off-season training regimen look like, you know, for your players? Because obviously it's not total full go, like in pads and everything like that. Yeah. But like you said, they're lifting still. But like over the winter break and things like that, what is it going to look like for them in terms of, you know, physically staying in shape?
Yeah, and really like the next couple of weeks, they're only going to get you know 1 or 2 more lifts, and then they're going to have they got to rest their bodies too. So. And then when we come back in January, that's when we're going to hit it hard again. So we'll be lifting 3 to 4 times a week, and at least starting out 1 day a week of some agility stuff and some running stuff in the off season. And that kind of we pick it up a little bit with 6 a.m. conditionings as it gets closer to the spring, and then as it gets into mid-March, we start some spring practice again, a little bit more, throwing the football around and stuff.
I was going to say, it sure would be nice to have that health and wellness complex ready around the wintertime now, so that way you could.
And they slap down that turf for us would be nice.
Yeah, but I guess we got to wait till next fall. But for sure. So Zuri, over the off season, coming up, what do you most want to improve on when it comes time, for spring football and then, your senior season in the fall next year?
I think the biggest thing is like just working on like getting bigger, getting stronger, just getting in the weight room. And then I also think like just working on like small details like about my game and all that stuff, like just watching film on myself, other DBs, just a bunch of mental stuff. As well as physical, but mostly mental, like just figuring out like what I can do better and what I did wrong, and just trying to correct. Just kind
of focusing on the little things a little bit. Yeah, for sure. I get you. And then, Coach, you talked about recruiting too, and you said you're going to be going on a bunch of trips now, recruiting over the next couple weeks and stuff. But what goes into that? Like, is there a specific like area that you kind of stick to? Like, I'm sure you're probably looking at the local area, high schools and stuff, but like how far out do you typically go in terms of recruiting, football players to come to Muskingum?
Yeah, our coaching staff each has about 100 schools in Ohio. So we all kind of divide up Ohio, and that's our main focus, especially in the next month or so. We really want to be, keyed in on the top guys in Ohio, and obviously, as you mentioned, the local kids, because there's some good local talent here as well. So that's our first focus, and then once we kind of get through Ohio, then we start hitting kind of our secondary areas, and area we've had a lot of success in is the state of Florida, and so we'll go down there in February and try to get some guys out of there as well.
Love it. Cool. Well, we're going to take our final break here on the Muskie Sports Blast. We're here with Muskingum football head coach Erik Ieuter and junior wide receiver Zuri Edmondson. We'll be right back after this on WMCO 90.7. I wanted to take the time to thank both of you. I know we have a couple minutes here left, but I wanted to take the time to thank both of you for coming on the show tonight. And Coach Ieuter, the support of your program, of our program, and what we do here over the years has been phenomenal. This is the last Muskie Sports Blast that I will get to do with Muskingum football. So 4 years doing it with you guys has been so much fun. Really appreciate just all the support over the years. Definitely going to miss it for sure, but I just wanted to take the time with the couple minutes we have left to thank you for everything that you've done for us over the last couple of years, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. Well, I appreciate all your hard work and your support of our program as well and promoting Muskingum football.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be like calling the game on Saturday. Like it didn't really hit me until kind of like the last couple minutes of the game, like getting ready to do post game, like, oh my gosh, this is the last Muskingum football game that I'm going to call, at least as a member of WMCO and as a college student. I'm sure I'll probably be back in the future as an alumni.
Well, when you're at ESPN, make sure you do a Muskie game, all right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I hope I get to ESPN one day. Who knows? But I will start off small, of course, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But no, I just wanted to take the time to thank you guys for sure. I appreciate it. And Zuri, heck of a game on Saturday against Capital. You balled out, and I'm really excited to see what you do next year. And I'll be watching you guys. So appreciate it, and best of luck with the off season and everything. And appreciate the time.
All right, thanks a lot, Will. Appreciate it.
Big thank you to Coach Eeuter and Zuri Edmondson for joining us tonight, and then the whole Muskingum football team for joining us all semester long. And we now move into winter sports here on WMCO, so we're going to be including wrestling, women's basketball, and men's basketball. And we thank you for listening to Muskingum football on the Muskie Sports Blast this semester on WMCO 90.7.
Thank you for listening to the Muskie Sports Blast on 90.7 WMCO. Make sure you tune in to the Muskie Sports Blast at 8 p.m. every weeknight except Wednesdays to see what's happening in Muskie sports. Also, check out orbitmediaonline.com for a full list of broadcasts scheduled. This is WMCO, your home for Fighting Muskie Sports.